Well, look at that, 10,000 subs.
Guess that means we've won YouTube. What should we do now?
Fishing trip?
Yeah, fishing trip.
It's impossible to pick an all-time favorite fishing minigame. Or is it? Well, today we're going to examine what goes into the greatest feats of digital angling. Those little diversions in the middle of an epic adventure that give you, and your heroes, a much-needed moment of respite. Plus, they let you reel in the big one without getting slime all over your hands. Well, unless you're me. There's only two rules. It has to be a minigame, not just a game about fishing by itself, and it has to have some kind of bearing or importance on the greater game experience.
So grab your lucky fishing hat. It's time to go on the hunt for the biggest, baddest fishing minigame of all time.
My name is Bawss Sauce.
And I'm Rollinkunz. And together, we are the two-headed hero. Where do you want to cast off, Captain?
Well, I don't want to take a vacation where it's only fishing. I want to be able to bum around a little town, find a drink inside of a coconut, that kind of thing. Ooh, maybe we could throw a line into Abiotic Factor? The waters are a little murky, but there's an abundance of alien pork chops.
I don't remember what that is. I'm thinking of something cozy. I'm thinking familiar, perhaps a classic. Dark Cloud? Can't get any cozier than PlayStation 2 polygons.
Okay. I've looked through a lot of brochures. I've thought long and hard about this, and as I've traced back the trajectory of my embarrassingly long video game journey, I realized just how many fishing minigames carry fond memories for me. I can clearly recall reeling in the big one during a Warframe session, or spending a lazy Sunday at the pond in Stardew Valley. But between the two of us, I guess I'm more of the resident dim-sim sicko, and there's only one box stacker that I can think of that makes fishing vital to the experience. Cruelty Squad is one of the flat-out weirdest pieces of outsider art to grace the immersive sim genre. This is a game about becoming a corporate assassin in a nightmare biopunk version of late-stage capitalism. It is, by all accounts, an all-out assault on the senses. It's got an unforgiving level of difficulty and a learning curve like a steep cliff. But this game's also packed with secret levels, equipment, and hidden gameplay modes that you can brush aside to reveal even more secrets. There's enough moving parts here to fill up an entire fan wiki, but nothing comes easy in Cruelty Squad, and the fishing minigame is no exception. The adventure begins way out here, on a remote island in the middle of nowhere. During a portside mission, you can swim all the way past this escape boat and talk to this eager gentleman right here who gives you a loaner pole to get you started. This rod takes up one of two of your weapon slots, so going out on a fishing expedition is actually a pretty heavy decision. After all, you still gotta make your way out alive if you want the mission to be a success. Fishing is as simple as clicking and holding the mouse button to cast off, and then clicking again to reel in your catch before it gets away. Chances of a bite increase as you cast farther out, but this belies a complex ecosystem. Different species of fish are swimming around in every single level, and you can cast a line anywhere you find standing water. Some fish can only be caught when it's raining. Others are only out there when you're playing in the super secret, extra frustrating difficulty level known as Hope Eradicated. And still other sea creatures only pop their fishy little heads out of the water when it's actually nighttime in real life. Rare fish bring the best prices on the stock market, a marketplace where you can freely trade company shares, human organs, and of course, fish for massive stacks of greenbacks. Until you unlock fishing, the only way to scrape together the huge amounts of cash needed to buy into the market comes from completing missions and harvesting the organs of your victims, neither of which provide very good paydays. But once you start your angler journey, you'll begin to reel in the big bucks needed for new items and equipment. Fishing also carries a pacifistic approach to the game. You can choose to slap on your trusty yellow rain hat, grab your rod, and ditch the missions entirely. Even if you get turned into chum by any number of gun-wielding thugs or nightmarish mutants, your body will just be sent back for reconstruction for a modest fee, and you'll get to keep any of the fish you caught along the way.
Just like real life.
Through the combined mastery of rod and reel and market manipulation, you can finally set your sights on the ultimate prize. A house. Well, maybe someday. Look at the property value on that thing. This is unquestionably a surrealist game if you'd ever think you could get a fully furnished house on lakefront property at this price point. But a corporate assassin can dream. So of course I had to go ahead and grind this out myself, and it turns out that while your new home is Nestled quietly in the middle of a verdant valley, your neighbors are giant laser worms. Can't have it all. But hey, at least the fish are biting out here.
I'm still not convinced. Guess we should do what the rest of the internet does. Ask random YouTubers!
You ever get tired of playing Fishing Planet or Sega Bass Fishing and just want something new to tackle? Tackle? How's that for a hook? Okay, I can see you aren't taking the bait. I guess that joke did seem a little fishy.
This one's huge!
Now, some fishermen will play unusual games like Animal Crossing New Horizons or Shenmue 3, or even Red Dead Redemption 2 to get their fishing fix.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
But me, I play...
Resident Evil 4.
No, seriously, don't believe that RE4's got the goods? Well, check it out. I can drop down into this pool and fish just like our ancestors did with blade in hand. Scout the area. Oh my god, how did I miss him? Oh, gotcha. Oh my god, dude, did you take your T-virus supplement this morning? Get back here. Dude, I can see why we switched over to fishing poles. Okay, thank Poseidon, we did it. Wait, I'm sensing a lack of enthusiasm. Is that not doing it for you?
No thanks, bro.
Well, RE4's got more lurking beneath the waves. Look, it's as easy as shooting fish in a... Okay, so don't disturb the water. Got it. Let's try our luck in the open water and see what Dislago has in store for us. Well, meet Del Lago, the deadliest catch in these waters. Guess it's time to make like Captain Ishmael and mog this Moby Dickhead. I bet your grandpappy never took you down to the lake to harpoon motherfucking giant salamanders, did he? Who says fishing has to be boring? But yeah, man, contrary to popular belief or reasonable expectation, RE4 now officially has an unofficial fishing minigame. Or is it a salamandering game? Either way, it's a rush, or at least a fun little novelty, and probably the inspiration for the very RE4-inspired Evil Within that Shinji Mikami would later direct, which originally had an open world with a fishing minigame. Ah, what a catch that would have been.
What the fuck?
But yeah, when you've got a lazy afternoon to spare and your old fishing spots aren't doing it for you, take Spain for a spin. I think it'll reel you in. Thanks so much for having me, Two-Headed Hero. Midnight Medium, out!
Peace out.
Hey everyone, I'm Dave from EphiTV here in the flesh. You know, a couple weeks ago when Two-Headed Hero reached out to me about doing a best fishing minigame video, I was honestly stumped. But no matter how many games I sorted through, I just kept coming back to one little project called Fly Night. And why is that, you might ask? Well, let me just present you with Exhibit A, the most oddly jiggling fishing pole of all time. You see, while you're fishing in Fly Night, this thing is just flopping wildly all over the screen with absolutely no regard for accurate physics. You can spin the camera around to whip it into wild shapes or even fish completely backwards through yourself. And can you reel it in when you're standing on a ledge directly above it? Well, of course not. That would make too much sense. You can even teleport while holding it out, and parts of it will remain miles away, causing it to bend and deform into whatever this is. I love that the devs fully leaned into the absurdity here, making for a very memorable fishing minigame. But how did they actually pull this off? It's not like you can just flip a wacky physics switch. There's actually a lot of work that goes into a feature like this. Now, aside from YouTube, I am a game dev myself, so I do like to go a little bit more in depth on features like this. So to get a better idea of how it's actually done, I decided to just recreate it. So let's just hop over to Blender and model up a simple fishing rod. I'm using the game for reference here, but of course mine is going to be a lot more quick and dirty. Okay, skipping ahead here, we've got a low poly fishing rod modeled up, and now I've got to put some bones in it. Well, not actual bones, more like the concept of bones. A rig. I'm going to make a rig for it. So basically what I do is just make a chain of these bone objects inside the fishing pole so I can animate it later on. When that's done, I just apply the rig to the model and it's broken. But not in the way that I want it to be broken. So I go back in and fiddle with the rig some more and eventually get something that's halfway functional. And with all that out of the way, now we throw in the real secret sauce for video game physics. Wiggle bones. Sometimes known as jiggle bones or jiggle physics, or the #1 most overused feature in gacha games. Yes, this is just a modifier that you can apply to bones to get them to wiggle around based on some movement or gravity or other outside forces. I'm doing this in Blender, so props to the user named Nailstraw for making a free jiggle physics add-on. But the desire for jiggle physics is so universal that basically all 3D software and game engines have a version of it, whether the developers want it to or not. So with that imported and a couple bones marked as jiggly, we have this very unfortunate floppy fishing rod. I can hit a hotkey to reset it to its neutral state, and yeah, it does this. Okay, unfortunate depictions aside, the bones actually seem to be working great. I can move the handle of the fishing rod around and the bones will wiggle about in some semi-realistic format. But if I move it too fast, then the bones start bending inwards on themselves, making a big unrecognizable mess of polygons. But it all works, so let's just finish it off hook, line, and sinker. Literally. So I model up a quick bobber and attach it to the fishing pole with a line. In a game engine, this would probably be easier to do with a simple line renderer, which just makes a line between 2 points, but we got a model here, so I'm going with that. I add a couple more jiggle bones to the fishing line, and it kind of works. The pole and the line do bounce around as I wiggle the handle, and the bobber stays in place, assuming that's where it would be catching some fish, just like you'd expect. Sort of. It's all completely broken, way more so than Fly Night, but hey, good enough for now. So what did I actually learn from that? Well, jiggle physics are actually pretty fun to mess around with, and I totally understand why most games only use singular, disconnected jiggle bones as opposed to long chains like these. But overall, they're a neat little feature, doing exactly as advertised and helping to keep the gacha game market profitable. So back to our main question. Does Fly Night have the best fishing minigame of all time? No, but it is some grade A, janky good fun, and that's all it really ever needed to be.
When I think about the most overpowered fishing minigame, my mind immediately went to Terraria. Now there are many different ways to approach the game, and truthfully, you can complete Terraria without even fishing once, but it would behoove a player to spend some time fishing, because the benefits are incredible. Efficiency and success is determined by fishing power, which decreases the average time it takes for the bobber to catch a fish, and also increases the rarity of rare drops. Now you can increase your fishing power with gear and equipment, namely by completing the angler quests, but also a variety of rods, bait, special items, potion, time, weather, and so on. Now maximizing fishing power is super important because the fishing minigame in Terraria is RNG based. It can be very time consuming, but it's also one of the game's easiest ways to collect items like life crystals, exclusive tools and weapons, accessories, ores, bars, and of course, crates. Now crates are what make fishing truly powerful, because they're fairly easy to acquire by using a crate potion. You can hoard them in pre-hard mode and open them immediately after killing the wall of flesh to get a ton of hard mode ores and bars to craft some really powerful armor, not to mention biome keys. Additionally, you can get an extremely good early game pickaxe called the Reaver Shark, which is an easy carry, and other powerful hard mode weapons like the Crystal Serpent, Toxic Carp, and Blade Tongue that can carry you through the rest of the game with proper modifiers. Another benefit is the fact that certain fish are the primary ingredient for key combat potions like the Endurance Potion, Life Force Potion, and Rage Potion. And not to mention, naturally through the process of fishing, you'll get an entire inventory full of things that you can sell for added money to spend on costly item reforging to prepare for the endgame. It's also worth mentioning that the optional Megaboss Duke Fishron can only be summoned by using a truffle worm as bait in the ocean, and upon farming him, you can get some really good items like the bubble gun and Fishron wings. What's particularly powerful about fishing is the fact that each of the game's different biomes have different drops, and with a little time you can manipulate the biome you're fishing in by placing blocks, which will give you a great amount of access to all kinds of things needed for success. In summary, fishing in Terraria is wildly powerful, and it's something that you don't even have to do. However, investing the time will reward you greatly as it allows you to scale faster in quality and strength to make exploration and boss fights much easier. You can manipulate the biomes to find the accessories, rare items, and biome keys you're looking for. You can gain tons of cash, potions, and ingredients, all while sitting peacefully behind a wall, closed off from the unforgiving world. Now with a bit of time and patience, a player can get downright overpowered simply by fishing, and it has to, at the very least, be considered one of the most overpowered fishing minigames in all of gaming. Let me know your thoughts.
What up, two-headed hero peeps? My name is youtube.com/thesummerofmark, and today I'm gonna tell you about an obscure indie title which, in this creator's humble opinion, has the ultimate fishing minigame. A fishing minigame that is entirely separate from the game's core mechanics. Are you ready? No. Are you ready to get your mind blown? Dredge is a 2023 fishing survival game developed by... Actually, fuck it, y'all know what Dredge is. It's the fishing survival game that's like, what if fishing, but Lovecraft. But Mark, I hear you yelling from the back of the room as I'm shitting myself because I never expected to actually be called out on this. This video is about fishing minigames, not fishing games. What's up with Dredge? Great question. First of all, this is my video, so I can do whatever the fuck I... Actually, this is not my video. Shit! But for real now, as far as fishing minigames are concerned, for me, you can't do better than Dredge. And it's not so much about the fishing minigames themselves as it is about everything surrounding them. It's about the package as a whole, if you will. Exploration, inventory management, dredging for materials like wood and metal, doing quests for all sorts of eccentric characters, soaking in the beautiful and unsettling atmosphere and world, stylized in a painterly approach inspired by Disco Elysium, managing your spooky meter as night falls and you find yourself stranded in the middle of the ocean, overwhelmed by visions of impossible terrors, and finally building and upgrading your ship with all sorts of fishing gizmos and thingamajigs that allow you to catch increasingly difficult and elusive fish. See, it's one thing to include a fishing minigame in a game where catching fish is item number 37 on your list of priorities. It's another to create an entire game revolving around fishing minigames where they don't become, you know, boring. Which, now that I think about it, raises the somewhat philosophical question of, is it really a fishing minigame if the fishing minigame is the entire point of the game? Let's just ignore my argument falling apart in real time and focus on the important stuff. Like how there's over 120 types of fish in the base game, and there are several different variations of the minigame depending on the species you're trying to catch. Or the fact that you have to use specific rods and combine baits to catch certain fish. Can't go out hunting sharks with your grandfather's old rod after all. I could have phrased that better. Hey, editing room boss sauce, can I leave this in?
Okay. But you gotta pay the toll.
Ah, shit, I got like a what a fucked up dredge fish count as payment? So yeah, that's my favorite fishing minigame. It's literally a game, but not just any game, but one where fishing doubles as a narrative device to explore the story of an archipelago that may or may not be in the crosshairs of a terrifying cosmic entity. Also, I grew up in a decaying harbor town, so you could say that I relate to the concept of a cosmic entity wreaking havoc in a peaceful seaside community on a personal level, the cosmic entity in question being late-stage capitalism. Anyways, here's the obligatory Sopranos clip.
When we were kids together in the Navy, he had such a bad case of the crabs, we used to call him the governor of Maryland.
Bye!
I don't know if that helped at all. What is going on with YouTube search? Seriously though, big thanks to EphiTV, Midnight Medium, Aboboknows, and thesummerofmark for being a part of our little travel guide here. Go check out those channels.
Even after all that, I'm still not convinced. I want my pixels pixelier and my polygons crunchier. I'm gonna take my rod to fishier waters.
Oh, here it comes, the massive over-explanation.
The turn of the century marked the midlife of the PlayStation 1, and with its aching joints and silvery facial hair came a new crop of JRPGs. Not content to simply be Final Fantasy, but with a different theme/setting
and haircut,
the Breath of Fire series had always stuck out as a unique weirdo. Like me! Since its beginning, Breath of Fire 1, developed by Capcom for the SNES and released in 1994 by Squaresoft, the series has included some sort of fishing mechanic. Whereas the minigame in the premier title in the series was based entirely on chance, Breath of Fire 2 added mechanics such as casting power, rod durability, fish stamina, and different types of bait. Many regard Breath of Fire 3, released in 1997, as the pinnacle of the series. In addition to its signature, intricate dragon gene-splicing battle mechanic, it added an even more robust fishing system. Gone was the side view of the previous minigame. A luscious isometric top-down view was a welcome upgrade. Many different types of fish were in play, different fishing spots, literal ocean/river depth, and it replaced the simple health bars of the previous minigame with a fun follow the fish meter that required the player to time their reeling and enslackening of the line with the temperament of the fish on the hook, or risk breaking their line. Think of Stardew Valley's fishing system, but horizontal and several years earlier. Sadly, Breath of Fire 3 is largely unavailable to purchase and play, especially on the PC platform. But Capcom has done us one better with the recent Steam release of Breath of Fire 4. In the fourth iteration of the series, Capcom leaned even harder into the bizarreness, filling the game with fistfuls of minigames and weird little subsystems, and, of course, fleshing out the fishing minigame even further. Breath of Fire 4 retains the depth, both literal and figurative, of the previous installment's fishing, but instead of locking them into a particular position at each fishing spot, it allows the player to roam freely, picking an appropriate bank upon which to park their bottom before casting into the waters in search of a fishy prize. While the masterful pixel art remains in a 3/4 top-down view, the camera can be rotated at 90-degree angles at a time, allowing us to set our cozy scene just as we like, or get a proper bead on an elusive sardine. The results aren't always perfect, but the camera control certainly adds something to the experience. The fishing mechanics themselves are similar to Breath of Fire 3, though the fish following meter has been tweaked to include a central target area, which, in my experience, makes the fishing just a bit less hectic in a pleasing manner. A semi-mysterious technique system has been added as well, which, as I have now learned, seems to increase the rate and ease with which you can catch fish when you press buttons to the rhythm of the background music. I certainly never figured this out as a child, so you can be assured that having rhythm is not a requirement here, merely a fun spice. The results of the fishing minigame feed into the game proper in a few different ways. First, with a modicum of skill, fishing is an easy way for a player to obtain health and AP restoring items, limited only by their patience with, or passion for, sitting near a fly-infested bog.
Oh boy howdy, do I love sitting near a fly-infested bog. That's my hang.
Yes, you would fall under the passion category. Second, fishing is a requirement for apprenticing under one of the game's many hidden masters, and that apprenticeship is, in turn, a requirement for apprenticing under other masters. So, if you want to unlock particular abilities or level your characters up in particular ways, you're gonna have to get out that rod!
Don't have to tell me twice.
Third, there are shops hidden throughout the game that will take only your smelliest, deadliest catches as exchange currency for powerful gear. If you want to delve deep into this beautiful old bastard, and let me tell you, it is worth it, you're gonna have to pull on those waders and get in that water. Outside of the dozen full-fledged fishing simulators available on the PlayStation 1, Breath of Fire 4 had perhaps the most advanced and detailed fishing system of its time. It's a childhood memory gem that continues to hold its sparkle and shine. Commence to fishing, folks!
You know what? When it comes down to it, I just can't say no to those cozy little pixels. So there you have it, the greatest fishing minigames we could find in our breadth of knowledge. Did we even settle on the best one? Not really, but one thought kept swimming through my mind throughout this entire process. No matter how advanced games might get, the things we tend to remember are the small details that bring these beloved imagined worlds to life.
I'm sure you have a favorite fishy minigame too. What's yours? Cast it down in the comments below. Likes and subs are always appreciated, and maybe if this video does well enough, we'll explore some other mini-games in the future.
Shout out to our collaborators that generously donated their time and talent to weigh in on silly questions. The Summer of Mark makes deep dive reviews on massive RPGs. Aboboknows is the master of all things roguelike. Entropy Fee, or EphiTV, offers up a boundary-breaking take on games from a developer's perspective, and Midnight Medium makes thoughtful essays on survival horror.
Bro.
You can find their channels linked in the description and the pinned comment, and special thanks to them all for helping us with our quest to find the best angling experience that's nestled within a larger game. Also thanks to the Is There a Fishing Minigame Blue Sky account for tossing me some truly helpful suggestions to springboard off of, and SoSlowman451 on Twitter for suggesting Cruelty Squad, which, man, the more I thought about it, the more it made sense as my pick. Without your inspiration, I probably would have just left this as a joke tweet instead of going all out on making a full-length collaborative video here.
And as always, our heartfelt thanks for the YouTube members and the brave heroes that support us on Patreon, such as Wolfgang Bristow,
Yaroslav Rybaki,
Jim DiFrancesco,
Vulpes,
Adam Uselman,
Amelie McNamara,
James Blake,
Cameron Frament,
Dominic Nguyen,
John Williams, Mahogany God King. Yeah, we have more YouTube members now. That's a thing we have now.
Cool. Godspeed 7. Godspeed 7.
Vinny2142.
Muggs McGurk 812.
I'm a Judah Packmaker. And the rest. Thanks again for watching. And thanks again for 10,000 subs. We'll see you on the next
Two-headed hero.
I didn't even write that part. I just kind of went off the cuff there. See how fancy that is?
That's what you get when you get 10,000 subs.
Yep, you get to remember your own outro.